What's up, party people? Today I'm going to show you how to automatically verify toll-free numbers in HighLevel for your new clients so that you can start sending SMS messages day one when you onboard a new client. This will allow you to start getting the results really quickly. Whether you're doing it like me, where you're just helping them get reviews, whether you're just following up with their leads, you're doing a database reactivation, either way, we want to start getting them results as soon as possible. And so this will allow you to start sending text messages day one when you onboard a client. And just so you know that I'm not blowing hot smoke, this is me receiving an award on the HighLevel stage. I've got over 160 active customers, and you can see over the last 3 months, I've averaged about $20,000 per month, a little over that, in cash collected for just helping local business owners get reviews with Review Harvest. So I'm going to show you kind of the old way and why we do it the way we do it. So HighLevel has an awesome feature called the SaaS Configurator and GoHighLevel SaaS mode, where basically when a client signs up, you can automatically create a new sub account, add them to that sub account, and they have an account ready to go and ready to rock and roll. The only problem with that is that when you create a brand new sub account in HighLevel, no matter what, you're going to have to get a phone number verified before you can start sending text messages, right? And so even if you're transferring the number into that new sub account, it's going to re-trigger verification. And so you normally have to wait 3 to 5 days before you can start sending any SMS messages, which sucks. From a client's perspective, they just paid you or they just got started with you and you don't do anything for 3 to 5 days. We don't want to do that, right? And so how it works, how we do it, is that we pre-verify toll-free numbers in Subaccounts, and then when a client checks out with us on Stripe, they start their trial, we pull the new Subaccount, the Subaccount that already has a verified toll-free number from a Google Sheet, and then we update that Subaccount info with the information they signed up through Stripe, and we create a new user on that account and add them to it, and then we can start getting them reviews on day one. So just to go over this, in my opinion, HighLevel's best feature, the best thing that HighLevel allows you to do, is to send text messages. So text messages obviously have a lot higher conversion rate, open rate, all that stuff than emails, and so that's why they're so important. And whether you're just trying to help local business owners get more reviews, or whether you are doing the traditional agency model, maybe database reactivation, or just following up with their leads from Facebook, then you know how important it is to be able to send text to these leads. And so this will be helpful to anybody that does that through HighLevel. And once again, this is not legal advice. Make sure you do your own research and make sure you're complying with all the text regulations. And so the whole reason I wanted to make this happen was because a lot of my clients are coming from Nice Job or Bird Eye or Podium, and when you sign up with them, I encourage you to go walk through their sign up process. When you sign up with them, you can start sending texts like that. You can be getting reviews within hours. And so we wanted to emulate that same process, but obviously we use HighLevel, so we had to figure out a way to do that. So what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna show you kind of exactly how to build out this Zap in Zapier, this automation, to automate the whole entire process. And so here are some of the tools that will be needed. All the affiliate links will be down below in the YouTube description. So Zapier, that's how we're gonna do a lot of the automation and connect these tools together. HL Pro Tools is how we will update the account information, add them as a user. Google Sheets is where we'll store all the information for these future client sub-accounts to be able to pull a sub-account with a verified toll-free number. HighLevel, obviously. I use Trello for my kind of task management. So it's when we create a new sub-account, sending my virtual assistant, King, sending him a notification and a task to verify that toll-free number. And it takes him about a minute or two. It's not hard. And then GHL Growth Tools, I've been using this just recently to turn on SaaS mode and to update the rebilling so that they're automatically being rebilled for texts and emails. And so you don't necessarily need all of these right away, but most of them are going to be pretty useful and you're going to need them eventually. All right, so let's dive right in. So the first step in this Zap is a new checkout session in Stripe. And so what that looks like on our website is that somebody comes here, they choose their plan, and then they go ahead and fill out this form to start their free trial. And so how you do that in Stripe is, what I do is I just create a pricing table in ElfSite. I use ElfSite for the pricing table, but you can also create a pricing table in Stripe. But basically all it is just a payment link. So when they click here, it goes to payment link. And then to go create payment links in HighLevel, it's pretty easy. You just go to payment links and you create a new payment link with whatever product you want to use. And so then you just attach that to the pricing page, to the pricing table on your website, so that when somebody signs up, they get started. And so I will say that probably half of our new clients come straight to our website and start a free trial from here. And the other half, we're on a sales call, we're on a demo call with them, and basically they just give us their card information and we input that information for them manually on the back end. And so either way, when we are onboarding a new client, we fill out this form, whether they're doing it or we're doing it. And so when we're going to create this Zap, all you want to do is you want to type in Stripe, and the trigger event is going to be checkout session completed, and then you just go ahead and connect your account. And what you want to do on this payment link is when you're creating it, you want to add custom fields. So let me just add like a dummy product here. You want to add custom fields on this product so that we can collect a little bit more information. So we want to definitely collect their phone number. If you're including a free trial, you can do that there and you can adjust the days. But we want to add a custom field and we want them to add their business name. So let's just say business name. And this is going to be the information that we use to update the sub account. And so it's not going to be optional. And so now we can see right here, we have the business name added. So they have to complete that to start their free trial and to start that. And so go ahead, create the payment link, go to it, and then just fill it out yourself so that you can find new records and you can pull a record to start moving through this Zap and automation to test it out on your own. So the next step that you're probably going to want to add is you're going to want to add a filter step. So what we do with this filter step is obviously you might have additional products going on in your Stripe. And so you probably want to add a filter step to make sure that you are only triggering this when the proper sign up is happening, right? You don't want to trigger this if somebody else is getting rebilled for something else. That way it's just going to be an absolute mess. So what we do for that is we do price. We do the price ID. So if we do the price, we use the price product, the price ID right here, and we want to make sure it exactly matches. And then what you want to do is you want to go to your Stripe and you want to grab basically the product ID. And so you do that, you grab that product ID just by going to your product catalog, and then just pick on whatever you grab, and then you can grab the product ID right here. And then you just want to make sure that that matches exactly what's going on here. And so we want to, I think I did the wrong one here, product ID exactly matches, and then you want to add that product ID there. That way it's only triggering in this workflows, this automation's only happening when the proper sign up is taking place. And you can add multiple ones here. So you can add, like if they do your smallest package, you can add that. And if you want to add another product, you can just do the same thing and just add the different product ID for your smaller package or your larger package, right? And so, all right, we'll keep moving through here. So we're going to continue. You can see that didn't match, but that's all good. And so let's go back to the automation. So we've got the filter set up. This is just a delay for like half a minute just because sometimes we had some issues with this not loading. I don't think it's really necessary anymore. Okay, so now text. So what I found is that it's kind of annoying, but sometimes the business name, when they fill it out on this page right here, the business name will come through with like a comma. And so this was just like a text formatter to remove this comma. Once again, this isn't the end of the world, but all you have to do that is just use the formatter tool. You want to do text, and then you want to search fields. We're going to do transform. We're going to do split text, and the input is going to be the business name from the checkout session. And so we can grab the business name, you can search for it, boom, business name, and then you can separate it by that comma. And then what's going to happen is when you test it, it's just going to pull out the business name right there. So that was just something we were running into. The sub accounts all had a little comma in them, and we didn't really want that to happen. So that's why we used that formatter there. All right. So copy text, so we have another formatter here. All this is splitting the customer's name into a first name and last name. So when we add them as a user, we need to add a first name and a last name. So we're basically just grabbing this customer full name here and we're splitting it. And so similar as the last one, we're just doing text, and then it's going to be a split text, and you can do it just based off of a space. So you just leave it as default and it's going to be space. And we're going to change this to the name. So let's see, customer details name, and then we will just leave it as default, and you'll split it. And so we'll retest, and then basically what that would do is that would give you their first name and their last name. So one thing is, if the data is not coming through properly, make sure your segment index, you're including all of these as line items. What that's going to do is when you have your when you have their first and last name here in the customer details field, when you go to test it, it's going to give you both instead of just giving you one or the other. So you can see when you test it, you have Clay, the first name, and you have Lawrence, the last name there. So now you're able to use both of those in the future. So now what we want to do is we add/update a contact. What we're doing here, this isn't really necessary, but all we're doing is we're just adding this. We're adding this contact to our main agency sub account for tracking and adding a tag saying, hey, now they're on a trial. And so all we do to do that is you just add a step here. We're going to do the lead connector, and we're going to choose an event. We're going to add/update contact. You can choose the sub account that you want to add them to as just to track that they're on a trial now. And then you can put their, once again, you can use this step right here to add their first and last name. And so let's go here. Let me make sure this is correct. So let's go here. We want to do them not as line items, we're going to do them all as separate fields. So I messed up there. So we want to retest this, and then it's going to give, output 1 and output 2. And then now when we go down here, we can add first name for the first name, last name for the last name, and then from here you can pull their phone number and their email from that Stripe checkout. So let's just do email, customer details email. Oh, that's phone. That's supposed to be the phone field. So customer details phone, and then we'll add their customer details email here. And then what you can do is you can add a tag, like now they're on trial. And so now in HighLevel, you can add a workflow where when a tag is added, say trial tag is added, it updates your pipeline so you can see where they are in the process, and you can update all your tracking and stuff. And you mark them as a lead, true or false, that's just required. Don't really even know what that does. But anyways, yeah, so you can just go through, and I'm gonna skip that test, but that's the next step that we do. All right, so now we get into the Google Sheets process, the lookup of a spreadsheet row. So this is where we're trying to pull a sub account that already has a verified toll-free number. And so when we're doing this, we need to have a Google Sheet set up in this format. So I think you can see this here. What we do is we have a column for sub account, we have a column for the location ID, and I'm going to show you how to automatically put new sub accounts that we create at the end of this Zap into this Google Sheet so that you already have it going. And then we have a status for verification submitted, phone status, whether the phone number is actually approved. So once King, my virtual assistant, once he verifies it, he comes and checks this. And then once he gets the email that it's verified, he goes and checks this as saying that this sub account is ready to go. Just have your virtual assistant or yourself, when you get an email, just come in here and just check, make sure it's good, it's ready to go. And we'll go over what this form is here shortly. All right, so the next step here is we're just going to connect that Google Sheet, right? So we're going to go here, we're going to type in Google Sheets, and we're going to choose an action. We're going to look up. So we're going to do lookup spreadsheet row. There we go. And you want to just go ahead and select your Google account here. So that you just click on select, and then just select whatever account you're wanting to use. All right, so once you get your Google Sheets account connected, you're just in My Drive, you're gonna choose the spreadsheet. You just make sure the worksheet is just whatever sheet it is. The spreadsheet is gonna have to do with the actual name right here, and then the sheet is gonna have to do with this right here. So just one thing there if you get confused there. And then for lookup column, what we're gonna do is we're just going to do, actually, I think we don't even need to do this. One second. Yeah, so when it comes to these columns right here, so this is the subdomain column. So what we do is, this is a separate video for a separate day, but we use subdomains for our email sending. So we have a certain subdomains that we use when we send out review requests via email for all of our clients. And so this is just gonna be the same for all of them, and we just add them in this column right here. So for example, if your name is awesome business, it could be r.awesomebusiness.com, and that could be your sending subdomain for all your clients. And so when we're doing this lookup column right here, what we do is we just use this subdomain, and we can just look up whatever the value in that column is. Because for example, we want this all to be the same, and we're just trying to grab the top row, right? We're trying to grab the top row that has a verified sub account. And so you could get more complex and make sure that this is true, meaning that this box is checked. But we have so many number. We have so many sub accounts that have verified numbers, like we never have to worry about the top one not having a verified phone number. And so so what we do is we just look up the lookup value, and we go say halt. We can leave that as is and continue, and we want to test the step. All right, and so you see it just pulls that top column right there. And so what that's going to pull is when you create these future client subaccounts, you need to have the subaccount. You don't really need to have a subaccount name here. That's just kind of for tracking, but you need to have the proper location ID. And what a location ID is, your subaccount ID is just going to be this string of characters right here in the URL, or you can also find it here. If you go to settings, business profile, you can grab this string of characters here. And so what it's going to do is now it's going to pull that location ID, and now we can use that to look up that subaccount and update the information with the information from the Stripe. So from the Stripe checkout. So now that we have this lookup spreadsheet row, we have an update spreadsheet row. What this is doing is this is just pulling a random password. So that's kind of a separate video. What I would recommend doing just to get started is just give all your clients a temporary password. You can make them all the same, and I'll show you where you can enter that. We just have a spreadsheet of like random passwords that gives them a temporary password, then they can change it themselves later. But this is not super necessary just for the scope of this video. But the next step is going to be to update location. So this is where you use HL Pro Tools. Once again, affiliate link down below in the description. HL Pro Tools, you'll get the theme builder. So you'll get like all the, access to all the tools that we've used to customize our HighLevel to where it says connect Google and social planner, and we can remove all this stuff. It's all there because, I'm the admin of the account, but it looks a lot different to our clients than it does to me. And so you can use HL Pro Tools for a bunch of stuff, for white label support, all that stuff, but we specifically use it a lot for just their HL Pro Tools app. So what we're going to do is we're going to do HL Pro Tools, and you search it. And once you sign up with them, you'll be able to get set up with you'll be able to get invited to their Zapier app. And the action event is we're going to do update location. So we're going to update location, and then you'll just connect your account here. And then what you're going to do here is we're going to select an existing location. And so when you originally click on it, it's going to come with a drop down. We don't necessarily use that. We just click on this and go to custom. And then what you do here is you just do the / and you can just map a location ID from this lookup spreadsheet row. So what we want to do is we want to find this location ID from the spreadsheet row. And now what that's going to do is that's going to pull the value of this future client subaccount that is, already has a verified number. It's going to pull that value so that we can now update it. And so here is where you're going to go ahead and put in all the business information and update it. So business name, their phone, the customer's phone. If you collect address, you could put it here. You can do country, just be US. Website, if you have it. Here we go. Here's where we need the first name and last name, so we can grab them from here. First name, last name. Oh, we don't have that in there yet. We go here, boom, there we go. And then obviously the email, update the email to the customer's email from Stripe. So customer details email, boom. Now you can set some default settings. So I just leave these as, do we want to allow duplicate contacts? No. Duplicate opportunities? Sure. Facebook merge? No. So disable contact time zone. False. We update the time zone on the onboarding call. We update their time zone just to make sure we're not sending out review requests or texts and stuff outside of their client's time zone. Most of our clients are local business owners, so they're only working with people in their area. And so if you have this information, you can put in, their Instagram, all that stuff, but we don't do that. And now we want to do the snapshot ID. And so the snapshot ID, this is where when you go to your agency level, when you go to the agency level and account snapshots and you see all of your snapshots here, you can dynamically update this subaccount with that snapshot. So you just choose that snapshot, put it there, mark it as true, snapshot override. So let's say you updated the snapshot, it's going to update the snapshot when it updates the location as well. And so here, custom values, this is where you can update the custom values of the account. And so there's really, nothing required when you do this, but for onboarding, this helps a lot. So the format of it is this. So you do curly brackets, you do quotation, and then you go to custom values and you pull, let's say you pull the exact custom value that you need, so Google review link. So you pull the exact text as it is there, and then you go here, you paste that in there, you do quotations again, and then you do colon, I think that is, and then you do the value. So then you could dynamically put in the value here. Sometimes it struggles to pop up. You have to go slash mode on the front there, and then you click over here. And then now you could dynamically put in some sort of value there to update that custom value for that account automatically. So now that's going to automatically update to whatever's there. Obviously you wouldn't put that, but that's just something you can do if you need to update some custom values. And so now if we go, and you can see here, if we go to the business info and all this stuff, we can see this is what we have. This is what we have in as the account name and all that stuff. And so if we go ahead and push this action through in Zapier, it's going to update all the information. So one second. So now if we come through and we push this through, we test this step, you're going to see it's going to update all the information in that account. And so the email is wrong. I just put a dummy email in there, so give me 1 second. All right, so we go through, we test this step again. Prospect must be an email. Dang it, I need to put a real email in. 1 second. All right, so we test this step. All right, so it failed again here because I did not put another quotation at the beginning. So it is curly bracket, quotation marks, the exact name of the custom value, quotation, colon, quotation marks, then the dynamic value you want to populate in there, quotation marks, then curly brackets again. Let's try it again. And there we go. So it worked, and so we go here, we can refresh this information. We can see now, instead of saying demo account or whatever, I just had it for testing purposes. Now it's going to say business name. It's going to have all that test information. It's business name, the test email, phone number, etc. And so, and if we go and check the custom values, we can see that that custom value updated right there, just says whatever we pulled in there just for now. And so that is the next step. So now that what we've done so far is we have had a client sign up. We have found a verified toll-free, we have found an account, a sub-account with a verified toll-free number. We have now updated that account with their business name, their phone number, their email, etc. And now what we need to do is we need to add them as a user. And so now we can update location. Okay, you can see here, I actually have enable SaaS and update rebilling on multiple products. And so what this is GHL Growth Tools. It allows you to do some things you can't do with HL Pro Tools. I really like it. I'm still learning how to use it. It's a little bit different than HL Pro Tools, but I'll show you how to enable SaaS for the location. So what this is that if you go to like your agency dashboard, you can manually enable SaaS and then turn on rebilling. And this this allows you to automate that process. So what we used to have to do is go find the sub account. We'd have to go, manage the client, and then we could let it load here. And then in SaaS mode, we could go ahead and enable SaaS mode, but what we'd have to do is we would have to, you already have to have a user, but then you could search from the people you have saved in Stripe and add it. And then from there, then you have to manually come in here and turn on rebilling because we rebill for text and email expenses. But with GHL Growth Tools, you're able to automate that process. So let's do GHL Growth Tools. And what we're able to do is we're able to do enable SaaS for a location, continue. We're going to use that location ID again. So we're going to use the location ID. We're going to click on this and change it to custom. We're going to go to the lookup spreadsheet row. We're going to pull that location ID. Perfect. We're going to grab the Stripe account ID. All that is that's going to be on your Stripe account. So I'm not going to show mine, but all you do to find that is you just go to your Stripe settings, you go to account details, and then you'll have your Stripe account ID. So you'll add that there, and then you'll do the Stripe customer ID. So that's the customer ID is going to come from the checkout section. And if you just type in like ID, it should pop up. It should be the CUS value, or CS. I think this is it right here. Let's see, customer ID. One second. So the Stripe record I am checking it with, I am testing this with, doesn't have a customer attached to it. This is just a test record. But what it's going to look like, all it is, it's in this little stripe box, it's going to say customer ID. So it's just going to be exactly customer ID. You can see it looks like that right there. That's the customer ID. And so you're just going to basically dynamically populate that in by pulling it from the checkout session complete. And so that's going to come in when a new customer signs up, you'll have that customer ID there. So you'll populate your Stripe account ID from your Stripe settings, the customer ID from the checkout, and then the customer name. You'll pull details name, customer email. You'll pull their email. And then what that's going to do is when we go to test this, you're going to update the rebilling, the SaaS mode on this account. So let me go ahead and put my records in and then test it. So you can see right now the SaaS mode is not turned on for this account. So this is the demo account we're playing around with right now. You can see SaaS mode is not turned on, but once we refresh it with using the Zap, it'll be turned on. So we can see now that we've tested that action, if we refresh this page, and we go to SaaS, we can see SaaS mode is active. So now this is going to allow us to turn on rebilling. And so one note here is that we do not currently use any of the SaaS configurator plans. You technically could assign this sub account to one of your SaaS configurator plans to kind of box them on the features. We just don't do that. It's not super necessary for us right now, but you could do that. That is an option that you have. And so the next step is now we want to update the rebilling on multiple products. And so you can see the rebilling is not turned on. We're not recharging for text or emails or anything like that. And what we do with our clients is we rebuild them all at the lowest possible we can do. So 1.05 is the lowest you can do. And so now the next event we want to do is we want to update rebilling. So let's do rebilling, update rebilling on multiple products. Let's continue. For location ID, you can just select the one that you used earlier. So you can either dynamically populate that location ID in from the Google spreadsheet by doing this custom and pulling that in, or you can just use business name. You can choose it from the thing. I think honestly, best bet, just for not breaking stuff, is going to be to dynamically pull it in from the location ID using the spreadsheet. And then now what we're going to do is we're going to add the products. And so you'll want to do, let's rebill for email, let's rebill for phone, let's rebill for email notifications, let's rebill for, just turn on whatever you need to turn on. Reviews AI, let's turn on LC email verification, etc. And then so for markup, these are going to match according to this. So 1.05 is going with email. 1.05 is going with phone. And you do this for each one. 1.05, 1.05. So if you got 5 there, you gotta make sure you have 5 markups listed. So we've got 5, so we're gonna do one more, 1.05. And then the same is true about enabled or false. So I've had issues with these buttons, but what you can do is you can just do custom, and then you can just put true. And this is the same situation. It's gonna go, you have to do it 5 times. So it's gonna go with each one of these products up here is gonna go with it. So let's do custom value, true, true. We got 4 and then 5. True. All right, there we go. So now we got all 5 of those turned on. And so now if I go and test this step, it's going to update the rebilling on all of those. So let me put the location ID in real quick. So the test was successful. So now if we go back to this sub account, we can see the rebilling is turned on. So rebilling is turned on for that. Let me refresh. Just make sure they're all turned on properly. So go to rebilling. See, turned on, phone systems turned on, email verifications turned on, resell emails turned on, reviews AI is turned on, etc. So all that is turned on, and so that's good. That's another successful action. So the next thing we're going to do from here is we have an add/update contact. This is kind of how we run our businesses. We have one sub account for us for generating new customers, and we have a separate sub account for us for basically, providing support with those customers. So we just have that for additional tracking and additional stuff. So we're just doing that same step we did up top here where we added the contact to your sub account. You can do that if you do have a separate sub account, but that's not super important for this video. So now we want to create a user. We want to create a user and add them to that sub account. So this is how they can log in on their own. So we're going to do HL Pro Tools. All right, the action is going to be add user. Let's just type in user. Create user. Continue. And here's where we're gonna add their first name. You can pull it from what we did earlier, boom. Last name, pull it from what we did earlier, boom. Email address, you can pull that from the Stripe. Let me just do email. Customer email. All right, password. Here's where you can set a temporary password. So you can say Ooga Booga 107 and exclamation point or whatever. So what this needs to have, it needs to have a capitalized letter, it needs to have special numbers, and it needs to have a special character. And so you can just add you can give them this temporary password, then just tell them to go change it. One thing to note is that every time they log in, it's going to send them a two-factor authentication. So still, while having the same temporary password isn't like the most secure thing, they're going to have to send a two-step verification to their phone number or their email. So what you can do alternatively is what I did is I just created a spreadsheet. I went to ChatGPT and said, hey, give me 1,000 password combinations that all have a capitalized letter, all are at least 8 characters, all have numbers, and all have a special character. And then basically you can just add that to your lookup step. And so you can do lookup spreadsheet row, you can look up a row in that spreadsheet, and then you can dynamically pull in that password from the lookup spreadsheet row. And then you can use that in your welcome email to them you can use that in their welcome email to them to show them how to log in. So phone number, we can just pull that from the Stripe. Phone. There we go. So user type, they're going to be an account type. They're not going to be on the agency level. They're going to be on the sub-account level. So it's going to be an account. And then I just make them an admin so they can add any of their employees if you'd like to, or you can make them a user if you want to just make sure they can't change their permissions or anything. I've never had an issue with that though. All right, then select locations. This is where you're going to go custom. You're going to do and you're going to dynamically pull in that location ID again. And so we're going to dynamically pull in that location ID. Boom. All right, and then here's where you can set their permissions as to what they have access to. So do we want them to have access to campaigns? You can just set whatever you want here. And so, it doesn't really matter. It just depends on your business and what you need. We don't allow them to see workflows. We don't need campaigns, no triggers, no funnels, no websites, no opportunities, conversations, dashboards, bulk requests. So they can, if you turn bulk requests off, they won't be able to upload a contact list on their own. So you want that turned on. Appointments enabled, up to you. Reviews enabled for us, obviously. Listings, we turn that off. Call reporting off. Signed data only off. Turn this off. Memberships, so just go through and just choose whatever works for your business. We want them to see settings. You can just go through and just keep going through. Defaults. This is going to be obviously very specific to your business and what sort of permissions you want your clients to have. Cancel subscription. So we don't use the SaaS configurator plan, so they can't cancel their subscriptions from the dashboard anyways. That's not an issue right now, but so then anyways, you just set all that and then you continue and you just test it, and then they will be added as a user into that sub account. So now that they have been added, you can go ahead, and one thing is you might have some issues with that. If that email is already attached to another user on your sub account, you may have to play around with it. One thing I do say is that when you're building these automations, like testing it and building it, sometimes you'll have issues that are only issues because you're testing it right now with data that is your data you've used before. It's just messing stuff up elsewhere. And sometimes you still want to test it and obviously make sure it works, but sometimes when you're just doing new people, it just works seamlessly. You don't have to worry about all the messy data you have when you're testing. And so the next thing we do is we send an email. So we send a welcome email. We just use the Gmail feature for this. What you can do here is you can we want to send an email. You connect your account. You can add their email in the to field. So we're going to just do email, use their email here. It's going to be from whatever email you want to put in the from, whatever email you want to use for that. From name, you can just say your business name or your name. Reply to, put your email there. Subject, and say, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Login details or whatever you want to say for for your business. You can type in the text here. And so basically in here, what we do is we include a couple things. So we include 1, a welcome video showing them how to get started, log in, and do some stuff before their onboarding call. 2, we include the link so they can book an onboarding call if they haven't already. And then 3, we show them how to log in. So you want to give them your login link. You can just put that in there. You want to give them their username, their username to log in. That's going to be their email. Instead of dynamically add that, you can just you can add their email again here. So this is going to be the email they use to log in, password. Now this is where you can pull the password. You can either just type in the password that you have by default for everybody as a temporary password, or once again, you can pull that lookup sheet column and you can pull the password from that sheet if you create a sheet of just 1,000 random passwords, right? And then you include the onboarding call link, etc., and maybe any next steps they have or whatever. You can choose your signature and then continue, and then you'll test and make sure that that email goes through. All right, and so the next step is we want to clear the spreadsheet row. So what we're doing here is we are clearing that spreadsheet row that we just grabbed and updated the account for. So let's say if we didn't clear the spreadsheet row, then when we pull information from that sub account, all that information is saved there. Next time somebody signs up, it's going to use that same information and update it. So now you just had one client sign up, you added them to that sub account, and they're working and you're doing whatever you do for them, whatever your services are. And then now you had somebody else sign up and it's going to update that previous client's sub account. And so it messes a whole bunch of stuff up. It's a whole nightmare. So you want to make sure we're clearing that spreadsheet row. So the action is just going to be clear spreadsheet row. And then you're going to choose your drive, choose the spreadsheet, worksheet, and then the row. So how you grab the rows, we're going to do custom here. So click on the 3 dots, click on custom, look up spreadsheet row, and then you're just going to grab the row number right here. And so when it looks up the spreadsheet row in that first step, up in the 6th step right here with the Google Sheet, it's going to give you the row it pulled from. And then you can just go here and we can test the step, and then you'll see it's going to clear this row. Boom, cleared, it's gone. Now the next client is going to use the next sub account. So that way we're not messing stuff up, right? So that's the next step. So then what we do, this is where you can just really insert whatever your project management tool is. You can just send an email to your virtual assistant. You can send an email to yourself. You can, if you use Trello or ClickUp, you can just basically add a task saying, hey, what we do on this card is this is our onboarding. So this sends a task to his Trello saying, hey, we have this new client. Here's what we need to do before the onboarding call. So that one's just not super important for the scope of actually just automatically assigning new clients with a verified toll-free number, but just insert there whatever you need to do for your project management side. All right, so here's where it gets cool. So now what we want to do is we want to have a kind of a roster of these pre-verified sub accounts just sitting there ready to rock and roll. And so what we want to do here is we want to use the create a location tool. And so we're going to use HL Pro Tools to create a location. So HL Pro Tools, and the action is going to be create location. We're going to create a new sub account. And so we're creating a new sub account, and this is where you can just put in future client sub account. And then what I do just to make it unique is you just pull in the customer ID from the Stripe thing. You just pull in the customer ID so that every single one's unique. This isn't super important. You're allowed to have multiple sub accounts with the same name. That's fine. They'll have a different location ID. And so then phone number, you can just put in whatever phone number you want to put in here. Address, I just need to put in dummy data. So I just want to put address, city, state. I just put US, postal code, just do zip code. Just put in dummy data here. No website required, no time zone required. First name, you can just put your own name, your own last name. You can put your own email then. So all right, and then you can make the settings of your account. So do you want duplicate contacts? No. You can choose all those there. We're going to leave all this information blank. And now when we're creating this account, we want to add that snapshot. We want to add that snapshot to the snapshot that we use for all of our clients. We can just add it right here. And if you need to update custom values, you can do that as well. And so then once you go through and you create this account, we're going to have all the information we need to add it down to the bottom of this row at the bottom of the spreadsheet so that it's going to kind of be put in the queue to go ahead and get verified. So let me go ahead and get this done. All right, so now it created a new location, and now what we want to do is we want to add a Google Sheets step to then add a new row. So the event is going to be create a spreadsheet row. We're going to continue. We're going to just choose the drive, the spreadsheet to add it to, choose the worksheet, and then now we're going to map the columns. So you're going to map in the subaccount name from the created location. Oops. So find the subaccount name from this create location. So here's the name. We're going to pull that location ID in. So create location, pull this new location ID in. Verification submitted, just put false. I think that's going to dynamically pull in the checkbox. False. Submit this form. So you can add, so this is something that we do is once we have a sub account that's verified, we make sure that the dashboard is updated, so there's no way to automatically update the dashboard with a snapshot. And so we just have a little form that's submitted that just reminds my virtual assistant to make sure that that sub account is ready for a new client. And so if you have something like that, you can submit like the form link here, and this can be static, so this can be the same like every time, so you just have your form link there. Subdomain, you can put in, like r.awesomebusiness, whatever your sub account, whatever your sending domain is for all these sub accounts, and then you just leave those blank. And now we continue, and we want to test the step. And now if we go, we can see it automatically pulled in those checkboxes. And now we have this future client account sitting right here, ready to get verified. And so now so last kind of step here is I want to notify my virtual assistant, King, that it's time to verify a new toll-free number. And so you can just insert your Gmail or your Trello or whatever you use for like project ClickUp, whatever you use for project management to notify your virtual assistant to actually get that verified. And so one thing that we do for the verified numbers is that we verify all these numbers with our own business information. I have a whole nother video on that. And so if you want to watch that video, I'll have it linked at the end. But when we do that, we use text replacements. So you can use like text replacements on a Mac or something to basically dynamically pull in a bunch of information just by typing in a key. So we type in like P1 and it gives him like that first value, and then P2 gives him the next one. But yeah, this is a video on how to automatically verify toll-free numbers. I hope it was helpful. If you want to see actually how, the actual information that we use or that you should use to get those phone numbers verified, feel free to click this video right here and get started. And if you're interested in more help setting this up, this Zap template, so I have a Zap template for this that I can share with you. If you're interested in that, feel free to sign up with my affiliate link to HighLevel down below, and I'll get that to you. If you're already a user, you can just upgrade to the $297 or the $497 plan. You'll get access to our school community where we have coaching calls. I have my snapshot on how I deliver my clients' reviews, how I get clients, and all that stuff. It's been a great community so far. People are really engaged, helping each other out. And so we have all these trainings in here, onboarding call recordings, sales call recordings, all this stuff to just show you exactly how I help local business owners get reviews and how I make about $20K per month, a little over $20K per month doing it. Hope this is helpful, and I'll see y'all in the next one.